Game guys kind of bad blow from the Pelicans last night against the Grizzlies. They had the lead late, should have covered, couldn't hold on. They gave us a second chance in overtime, didn't matter. And we split on some one-unit bets, hit the over with the Pistons and the Nets, but lose on the Wizards. And that's what went down with our slate yesterday. Currently no bet on this card today, and we'll get into it. Obviously, there is one bet out for the weekend. If you guys want that, sign up on the app or the website really quick. Like, comment, subscribe below. Help us grow this thing. John, how we doing? Just frustrating, but got to give a little bit of credit to John Morant, this Grizzlies team. 4-0 now with him back.
Yeah, and a big boost from Smart. Smart comes back yesterday. Boom, they throw him right into the mix, right into the starting lineup. And he was a game-high +9. And that's the things that Smart – you look at Smart and you look at the box score and you say, well, 9 points. Nothing sexy. But just look at that plus and minus. He was a +9 when he was on the court in the 29 minutes he gave them. So that's a big plus for them. Usually that first game back after a long layoff. Don't expect much. This is the kind of player Smart is. With John Morant, Smart, though, again, this is a different team. Josh just got them at a different pace. And the Pelicans, that's 3 or 4 losses now, 3 in their last 4 games. They've got to be better than this. This is a game that was made for them.
Nope.
Grizzlies had to come back there for the second time in a week after Memphis had a 24-point lead, blowing it. This time they only had half a bigger lead, 14 points in the fourth quarter, and blow that one. So that's a tough one. Even tougher was the Wizard Magic game. Again, there was only 1 unit bet, still just as tough. There's a game we took at 7.5. No sooner did we take the 7.5, all the sharp money came in. That game closed 7. That's why I hate what my guys say. We're on the wrong sides. Guys, if you don't know, and I understand a lot of you guys are newbies and don't really know what you're talking about. But if you don't, I always used to get told this by my old man. Just sit there and look stupid instead of opening your mouth and proving it. We're never on the – I mean, look, I can't say we're never on the wrong side. Occasionally something will happen. You take the total bet that we bet yesterday. The hot side was the under. 233.5 was the opening total. Pistons – Brooklyn. That game got pushed down as low as 228. That was too low. That's when we jumped in. If you're a Massa Edge member, you saw in our preview, we already gave you the highlights of how many meetings have gone under, how many of the Nets' last games have gone under, how many of the Pistons games, had all gone over. So you already saw which way we were leaning. We let the number get to the rock bottom, 228, go over 228, game lands 230. That's a handicapper. That's what we do. So we lose a Magic, the Magic Wizard game, another half-point beat. That's a 4-point game down at the end, the free throws, and the game lands 8. And it's just been the way it's going. And I just keep saying the same thing. It just is impossible mathematically. I mean, we had one of the guys in the chat say, stretches like this, the norm. Stretches like this aren't the norm for the biggest sucker on the planet. It's what we're faced right now is unfathomable, something I've never been across. I've had bad weeks. I've had a bad month. Not a stretch like this, not for this longer period of time and this bad. Again, if you were flipping a coin, not even flipping a coin, if you were flipping a 2-headed coin, I made the reference on our Instagram post. I feel like the Pistons right now. But again, nothing's changed in the last 30 years. What I do every day is I beat the number in the NBA, and that hasn't changed. So mathematically, the numbers just have to fall. So we got one of those with the Nets yesterday. The total, we went over the 228, and that game landed 230. The opener was 233. These are the games you're supposed to catch. When you have that closing line value, those games are supposed to show up, and they will. And as I said today, or in the video that we posted on Instagram, we are due for a landslide of W's, and we're going to make that happen.
Yeah, well, surprised we weren't on the Nets last night. Also, the way they didn't cover that game, landed right on the 6.
How many free throws did they miss at the end of the game? Exactly.
Yeah, 5 free throws. So lose it by the hook and you miss 5 free throws down the stretch. That's tough. Luckily, we were not a part of that one. That's just kind of sees
well, thank God we didn't need those extra free throws for the total.
Nope.
Look, that's how lucky sometimes the sharp guys are. They were under 230. That game could have easily gone over 233 with all the free throws that the Nets missed to close out the game. But while we're talking about that game, how bad is this Detroit team? 27 in a row, Ben. And they will go to tie the longest losing streak. And who do they got next? The best fucking team in the NBA at Boston. It's an unwinnable game for them. So you can just pencil them in as tying Philadelphia 76ers for the longest losing streak in professional sports.
Just the way the season's been going, that could be the one that snaps the streak there. They go out and shoot. That's just how crazy everything's been. But, yeah, Pistons look bad. I know Cade Cunningham's playing pretty well. And, people are saying, oh, poor Cade, free Cade. He's playing well. Plus minus when you're winning games and still have a positive, or losing games, still have a positive plus minus. But there's got to be something. Your best player, 27 in a row. You got to get one. I'm not asking them to make the playoffs. You got to get some wins. We talked about it with Luka Doncic. I mean, when you're the best player on the floor, you can not only win games, you can win playoff series. And Cade Cunningham's got to get one win. Got to get him a win.
Yeah. I saw the stat. I don't know how many times this kid has scored 30 plus in his career. And the Pistons have a total of that many wins in every game that he has scored 30 plus in. So that's why, look, you need guys to score. There's no question about it. But as I said in the case of Smart, look at that plus minus column. We've made this comment before about Norman Powell, how he comes off the bench for the Clippers and what he gives them on a day-to-day basis. And there's another team, the Clippers, that's now 3 games without Kawhi, blown out in 2 of them, and struggled to beat an undermanned Charlotte Hornet team at home. Lucky that Harden had a good enough game to get them pissed. Charlotte had no Miller, obviously. Ball still out. Williams, the center, out. And they lose Hayward during the game. And the Clippers, they had it to struggle. There's 3 games now that Kawhi's missed. Is it time to hit the panic button? I don't know. But like I said, this team was playing as good as anybody. And it's just, when is that other shoe going to drop? We'll look to see what happens. Now, they don't play again for a couple of days. I think they don't play till Friday. I've got my books with a game against Memphis coming in. So we'll see what the story is. But I've got no reports coming out of LA yet on the whatabouts about Kawhi.
We'll see what's going on with him if he's back sooner than later. I mean, luckily, this is the first stretch he's missed. So if it's one, 3-game stretch, not the end of the world. Just hope it doesn't spiral into something that we're still talking about in May. Let's go ahead and dive into this Wednesday slate. Pretty short card, bit of a bigger card tomorrow, obviously, with Christmas. The typical NBA schedule a little bit mixed up. And you got a lot of these teams playing today who played on Christmas. Topping it off, 76ers at Orlando. No Embiid in that game when they lost at Miami, and he's going to miss again tonight. They're now 0-4 on the season in the 4 games Embiid has missed. But they are 8-2, 7-3 against the spread their last 10. And then this Magic team coming off a win against Washington last night. Wagner had a big night. You had the 46% from 3 as a team. They got it going. This is a weird game. No Embiid. Sixers have yet to win with Embiid this year. They just dominate this matchup, 11-1 the last 12 meetings. And rarely do they catch points in this matchup. So would be a slightest the leans here to Philly. Maxey, horrible game the other night without Embiid. He's going to have to be much better today.
Yeah, and I expect him to be much better today. But Orlando does play a nice little defense. 5th in the league in points against. They are back-to-back, and Philly has absolutely dominated this series. But without Embiid, this Philly team 0-4. Batum's also going to miss. I expect, like I said, a big effort from Maxey coming off an embarrassing Christmas Day showing. I can't bet the 76ers. They own the matchup. I expect them to come with a good game. I just can't bet them in this spot without Embiid, the way they've been losing without Embiid. They've won 5 straight also in Orlando. I'm going to stay off this game. I got no dog in this fight.
And it's Raptors at Washington. Raptors, they have quite a few days off rest-wise, so this is a little bit of a spot for them. They haven't played since Saturday where they lost to the Jazz. Only problem is they're not playing good ball right now. 3-10 straight up against the spread. Their last 13 almost just kind of feels they're waiting until this trade deadline to blow things up. Everyone knows it's coming. And then you have the Wizards, who are back-to-back after losing last night to the Magic. They're now 2-9, 3-8 against the spread at home. Raptors had some success in the matchup. Two teams really not playing that good of ball. Washington have been hanging within a number, but not as much at home. And then Toronto just really not covering these last 3 weeks here. Would be a lean to the Raptors just with the extra time off. Wizards on a back-to-back, but I have a hard time laying this many points on the road with this Raptors team right now, who is just 3-9 on the road this season.
Yeah, I can't lay it. I thought the right number was 6. Opening number was 6.5. It's actually ticked up a little bit to 7 here. Kuzma had a tough night shooting the ball last night. Before that, he'd been real good. So we'll see what they are on back-to-back. Got to always worry. Does anybody get a little rest the next day? But just don't want no part of laying Toronto, even though here's another one that they've absolutely owned this matchup. At Washington, 7-1 straight up, 6-2 against the spread last 8 visits to Washington. Just still don't want no part of a Toronto team that's struggling to win games, not to lay 6 on the road, even as bad as Washington has been at home. I just think it's a solid number.
And we had the Bucks at the Nets. Bucks coming off the Christmas Day loss to the Knicks. They got big games from Giannis and Lillard. Just defensively were horrible in that. Allowed Brunson to go crazy. Giannis, he's questionable tonight. We'll see if they actually rest him. Apparently it's not injury related. And then you have this Nets team who's coming off last night's win against the Pistons. Couldn't cover late. They've been very solid at home this season. 9-7, 11-4-1 against the spread. It's the third best against the spread record at home. They covered in a loss at home against the Bucks earlier this season, and it was right in on the number. I believe the number on the game was 4.5, 5. Lands 4, 129, 125. And we're looking at a very similar line, very similar situation here. Bucks playing good ball right now. That snap 7-game win streak. They're just 6-6 straight up and against the spread on the road. And will be a lean here ever so slightly to Milwaukee with Nets on that back-to-back. Nets are playing really bad basketball. 5 in a row they dropped, and then they get a couple of wins against the Pistons. I expect them to fall back to the norm here.
Beat the Pistons. Me, you, and 3 guys from the club could beat the Pistons. 5 straight losses, 2 wins against the Pistons, a non-cover last night. And we talked about this being a good spot for the Pistons last night. Just didn't have it in us to pull the trigger on a team that had lost 26 straight. And it took every bit of the botched free throws by Brooklyn going down the stretch. And part of that was what we call the spot. Brooklyn looking ahead to the next game, which was Milwaukee. They trailed in that game in the fourth quarter, so they put like a 13-2 run on the Pistons. So they're going to come back-to-back against Milwaukee. Milwaukee listing Giannis questionable. They haven't played since Monday afternoon. They were the 12 o'clock game. Nope. They don't play again till Friday. There's no back-to-back. So they got him listed questionable. We have to respect it because we have no other info. The line should be higher if he's in, but obviously if he's out, they're a 2-point favorite if that with Giannis out. So again, we'll be waiting on that injury information.
And we have the Knicks at OKC. Knicks coming off that big win there against the Bucks. Brunson, 38 points on 15 of 28. They're 3-1 their last 4. And OKC, big win last night. Crushed the Timberwolves, put them away. A team that owned them, 129-106. 4 of the 5 starters scored 20-plus. SGA, 34 points, 9 assists. Just a ridiculous game there from the Thunder last night. And they have a lot of success in this matchup against the Knicks. 7-2 straight up against the spread the last 9. They did split last year, each winning on the road. Knicks took one in OKC. And I'm going to lead to the Thunder in this one. Not the most ideal spot coming in on a back-to-back. Knicks the extra day off rest-wise. But Knicks, they get that spot win there against the Bucks, playing really well there. What OKC is doing right now, turning around, playing on all cylinders, it's a lot different than a team like, per se, maybe Dallas or Indiana, really reliant on Halliburton or Luka. Yes, SGA is the leader here, but they're getting it done from all aspects. It's a lot easier to have success on a back-to-back when you're running that many guys deep.
Yeah, it's that back-to-back didn't kill them last night. So Dort and SGA, only two guys, they played 33 minutes each. Nobody else topped 30 minutes.
Nope.
They kind of cruised past them last night. And again, they played at OKC, so there's no travel. This number's right around the right number for me. The Knicks coming off a real good game. But they've had trouble in the past going out. Again, you go deep. It was a different OKC team, but they've had trouble going out there. But the last few weeks, couple of years, 2-1 the last 3 visits to OKC. Before that, again, we go back to even the KD days. Always struggled out there when the Nets were garbage, when the Knicks were garbage. Knicks big game, playing better. Their only loss their last few games was the first game of the set to Milwaukee. OKC playing just as good, maybe better. 4-1 their last 5 with their only fall-down game. The game against the Lakers where LeBron turned the dials back and went for 40.
Then we have the Suns at Houston. Suns playing horrible ball right now. Coming off the Christmas Day, getting cooked by Luka. They're 3-9, 1-11 against the spread. Their last 12. They do get Nurkic back, which is pretty big considering they're already short on bodies. They need just NBA players. Definitely need some size in there. He's actually third on the team in assists per game. He gives a little bit of a playmaking with their no point guard situation. So big piece back in Nurkic. We'll see if that helps flip things back around. And then Houston, they are coming in on a back-to-back. They lose at home to Indiana. They started off this year lights out at home, now getting a couple of home losses. Sengun did have a solid night, and they're going to be without Brooks. This is a lean here to Houston. Now, just what they're doing at home. Don't want to back a Phoenix team 1-11 against the spread their last 12. But getting Nurkic back is huge, and Brooks missing is huge. So those 2 swings there, injury-wise, don't want to be on this game because of that.
Yeah, big swing. But it's still Houston to nobody. I want no part of Phoenix until they figure this out. Now, getting Nurkic back, maybe that'll give them some defense. What they looked like the other night against Dallas was horrible. So let's see what Nurkic gives them in the middle. I love what this Sengun is doing. And then in Houston, the whole team. We told you guys yesterday, Pacers had won 7 straight. And I know it was a different Pacer team, but I know it's a different Houston team. But these are the trends that just show up. You can't buck the trend. In this spot here, true. Houston's back-to-back, but like OKC, there's no travel involved. Let's see if they're going to give anybody the day off. But again, no way in the world is Phoenix a road favorite with Nurkic or not with Nurkic. The way they've been playing, 1-11 against the spread. Their last 12, and I believe 3-9 straight up. Would I be correct, Ben? 3-9 straight up?
3-9, yep.
So I'm not making that I'm not making them a road favorite over. Does Houston have the best against the spread record at home?
Best against the spread record, top 3 straight up.
So I get the fact that they're back-to-back. They don't have their best defender in Brooks, and Nurkic comes back, still not making the Suns. If this game goes any higher, it's Houston and nobody.
And then we have the last game on the card here, Cleveland going on to Dallas. You have this Cavs team coming off a nice win at Chicago. No Mitchell, no Mobley, no Garland in that game. No problem. They pull it out, though.
No LeVert, no Merrill. I mean, they were missing a team, basically.
Yep, and those last 3 guys there, Mitchell, Merrill, LeVert, all questionable to come back tonight. We'll see what's going on. Dallas has Luka questionable. Cleveland, they're playing really banged up, but they're still playing good ball. 4-1 their last 5. Got to give them credit for that. Dallas, obviously coming off the big Christmas Day beatdown in Phoenix. If Luka is out, close your eyes and bet the Cavs. I don't care how many of those 3 guys are back in. They played 2 games this year without Luka. They lost them by a combined 40 points. I'll take my chances. And this Cavs team is finding a way to win games right now. I'll take my chances with them versus Mavs without Luka. Luka, you pick a number, he's worth that much to the line.
No Luka, no chance. And that's basically it. Just what Ben's talking about. So we got to wait for the injuries. No sense of going into it, as Ben said. Cavs already missing Garland and
Mobley.
Garland and Mobley. They're going to be missing them for a while. Again, Mitchell's missed the last 3 games. LeVert, Merrill, who they were getting some great 3-point shooting from. Merrill already definitely going to be out tonight. Waiting to hear about LeVert and Mitchell. So with those guys out, with Luka questionable, just such a sandwich spot for
No.
Dallas. Coming off the loss, the win to Phoenix Christmas Day. Luka has the 50, and tomorrow they go to Minnesota. Minnesota had beaten Dallas at home. Minnesota right now leads the Western Conference. So do they give Luka the day off? Again, all these question marks, no way to give you guys a good read on it. What we do say, no Luka, no chance for Dallas, and we'll get those infos out to our members as soon as these injury games pop up.
Big injury day. Make sure you guys sign up on the app or the website if you guys want that information throughout the day. And same thing with football coming up this weekend. Pretty good NFL slate coming our way. And we do have some bowl games going on later today, guys. I know you guys keep asking me in the chat about opinions on bowl games. We'll be having a play out later today. And just a quick rundown for you guys. I mean, just the 3 games. Now we're starting to get into the Power 5 teams. West Virginia, UNC go today, Louisville, USC, and then Oklahoma State, A&M. It really comes down to who's playing, who's not. I mean, at this time of year, and you can go look down the list, you have North Carolina, USC, both down probably the number 1 and number 2 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. Don't want to go against that. They're both missing key wide receivers, key running backs. So as far as those 2 games, and then you can just look at the line movement on the games. Line movement has screamed toward the team who's having more bodies, both with West Virginia and with Louisville. Louisville, they keep most of that key defense, so that's going to be huge. That would be a big lean today. And then Texas A&M, Oklahoma State in the final game. Texas A&M loses a lot of bodies. They also are down a head coach coming into this spot. Oklahoma State, they do keep their quarterback. They do keep their running back, and they're a pretty heavy run game there. Led the Big 12 would be a lean to them as well. But, yeah, those 3 teams, A&M, USC, UNC, can't back any with how many guys, QBs, key pieces, coaches, some of them up to 20 guys already in the transfer portal. Don't want to touch those teams.
Yeah, I'm going to leave these to Ben. I just have not had time to keep up with the college football right now, especially with what's going on with all of these. But what we can tell you is you got a game like the A&M game. A&M opens as a 5-point favorite, and you've got OK State now 3.5. I mean, that's a tremendous move.
Yep.
So you got to be on top of every little bit of this. Getting Oak State at +5, hey, you stole the number. You're betting Oak State at this point. I mean, the number's kind of out the window, but with the amount of people A&M we're going to have, is it still worth the play? Again, not my expertise. I never try to be an expert in something I'm not. What we do have is the best ratings, even in college football. But as I've been telling you guys for the last couple of weeks, you throw those ratings out the window. Those ratings were with those teams at 100% going for the games. And obviously, with all the transfers, they're not.
Yeah, crazy amount of transfers everywhere. We'll say, though, coming up on Monday, we will have those college football playoffs, and those are at least 4 games of teams showing up true and full. So that to look forward to. That's the NBA slate for today. John, I don't know if you have anything else to add here.
Nope. A lot of football going on. We're going to have Taylor is going to come back and be the quarterback again. Tommy Cutlets, just NFC Player of the Week a few weeks ago, is out as quarterback. Washington has come to its senses. Howell, he's been removed. Brissett will get the starting nod for Washington. Week 16 and teams changing quarterbacks, never a good sign. We'll be on up to date with all of our NFL stuff as we come down the stretch here. Some really big games. We talked about it. Miami, Baltimore, none really bigger than that. You're basically playing for that top number 1 seed. If Baltimore wins it, they cement it. If Miami gets it, that's unbelievable. Cleveland playing Thursday night. Browns pretty much going to be the Browns are going to be a wild card. Let's put that to bed. Could they be the top wild card? And that's where you want to be in the AFC. Top wild card. You're going to face the division, the South Division winner. Jacksonville, Colts, or Houston, whoever comes out of that mess. And that's just what it is. That's a mess. You've got Jacksonville, who look like a contender. They weren't going to come out of the AFC, but look like they're going to cause problems in the playoffs. Well, they've gone downhill since the Lawrence injury in the game against the Bengals, and things have only gotten worse. He's questionable again this week. Stroud looks like he's coming back from the concussion after missing the last 2 weeks. The Colts, who had a winnable game against an Atlanta team that not mathematically out, but they're out of the playoffs, and they let that one go. So that whole South, which was supposed to be a shitty division, is still a shitty division, just that they got some easy scheduling. So one of those teams is going to be the division winner. You want to be the wild card that faces them in that first round. So Cleveland's got that to play for, because here comes those Buffalo Bills. Remember the Len Berman, nobody circles the wagons, and that's what this team did. They went into that bye week dead, beat up, and going to KC. Get the win at KC, blow out Dallas, and escape in LA. So I don't think they'll get caught sleeping. Look for them to put a burial on Belichick after losing in New England earlier this year in a late touchdown when the Patriots scored with a late touchdown. So a lot of good football. We're on top of that also. We're waiting for this NBA. We will beat the NBA. We will go on a run of 70% at some point. Just has to happen just to get us to the numbers where we should be. So we look forward to that. We're already waiting on the lines for tomorrow. Other than that, Ben, that's going to be it for us.
Yep. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Like, comment, subscribe below, and let's win some games.
Let's win some games.